Welcome everyone to our April pre-meeting working session. So let's go ahead and get started. Yeah, so our guest speaker, just look out there, she's not here yet. So why don't we go to the next thing, which is old business? There is none. We'll go to new business. So our regular agenda, take a look to see if there's anything earth shattering that you should be aware of.
Yes, yes, yes. Wait, is that it?
And from your perspective, anything you would be aware of.
For the.
Yeah, for like a regular monthly meeting, there anything like any, there's no ordinance.
Yeah, nothing super exciting. From an ordinance perspective, there's gonna be two ordinances. It's just bringing your international fire code and your international property maintenance code up to current date. So nothing too exciting there. And I think that's the only thing I want to raise.
Do we have a report or anything like this?
We do, yeah, we have a report from Matt, in your packets. If anyone has questions about that, I can try and answer those, or I can always report back.
For the ordinance, do we have a reporter like?
Oh, no, these don't require.
Okay.
Yeah, these don't require a reporter.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so questions on the agenda, we are going to pivot back to our first thing, which is our EAC annual report from our guest speaker, Lily Savage.
Yeah, printed?
It was digitally.
Yeah, we got it in our packet.
Yep, here you go. Welcome.
Thank you.
Does everyone know, what?
I think I do not. I'm not.
There's the new members.
I
Okay,
think I do, but I'm not sure.
Member of the EAC. Oh, gosh. Back in the 1990s to the first trip around. And then I returned a couple of years ago as a member and ended up being named a co-chair in the fall. So, let me see if, might you have a copy?
You can print your copy.
I can bring up my laptop and.
No, that's okay. I'll just wing it.
I have some.
So basically, I sent along a report that was summarized from our minutes throughout the year and included regular EAC meetings, which we do every month. Right now, they're virtual. We are trying very hard to make them perhaps hybrid, but to go back to meeting in person, which we did before COVID. Starting in COVID, we switched to virtual. There's benefits, there's disadvantages. So we're moving toward going into meeting in person and expecting members to attend meetings. The virtual is a nice option for the public, and we'll see. So we do meetings once a month. First Monday evening of the month. We are probably also going to change that so that Zach can attend our meetings, because it's really, really important to have a borough council person represented in our meetings to help us answer questions, stay focused, not get into things I call the rabbit holes, where we spend time and energy on issues that may not be particularly important to you all. So meet once a month. We have a couple of programs that we do a year that have been annual. Roadside trash pickup, which for last year was along Nicholson and at 5 Points. Same thing this year. We're going back and doing that stretch gets huge amounts of trash, especially 5 Points. So that, I believe, is scheduled for, I believe, April 18th this year. It's a Saturday morning. We have a volunteer list, shoot the invitation out to the volunteer list, and then publicize on the website in the newsletter. Very popular. We've had a lot of really good volunteers show up for that. So trash pickup, and then we do a green up day, which last year was along the stream in Acorn Park. We are going back to Acorn Park this year. I believe that's May 18th. Saturday morning again, and we are going to be cooperating with the ongoing planting that the recreation guys and the maintenance guys are doing. At this point, I still need to talk to them to decide what pieces, parts we're doing. But last year we planted 100 small shrubs along the Ye Road extension. We also collected trash and we removed a bunch of invasives. That's Green Up Day. Those were our two events. We did not have enough people who were available to do Festival in the Park. Traditionally, we do that, but we didn't have enough EAC members who were available that Saturday. So we'll see what happens with that this year. We do have some opportunities with having become a bird town to do some good educational stuff. So we'll see what happens with the Festival in the Park. Then we have some, I don't know, I would say ongoing programs for optics. And then programs that tie back in to either bigger picture within the state, which the borough's has pledged that we will participate. One is the Mayor's Monarch Pledge, which we did that on ongoing activity, participated in that, provided our final report for 2025, and we got basically certified to continue 2026. And that program is designed to encourage native pollinators. So just things that the borough does, like limit the mowing of grasslands in some of the parks, like Old Orchard. That gives us points for the Monarch Pledge. And then we've planted milkweeds, I think, next to the community garden, that kind of thing. So we do the Monarch Pledge. We do a Remarkable Trees program, which came out of the tree protection ordinance. I think it may have run its course, but we would advertise. People could nominate their trees. We would vote for their trees. If they won, they got a gift certificate to Sorrels. We've had interest in that kind of fall off from the community. So that may be a program that we say its better days are behind us. And now we're a bird town. That was probably the biggest outside event of the year. We got our official certification in August of 2025. Did some smaller programs toward the end of the year. EAC members donated to purchase books for I think it was Northland and Franklin Elementary School libraries. We did those two. We participated in Christmas bird count in the borough. Zach submitted our end of the year report, and I believe we got certified as a gold bird town. And the signs went up for bird town, so that is an ongoing program. We will receive, as part of becoming a bird town, we got a $1,000 grant from the Audubon Society that we have to spend or use, I think it's before June 30th. So we're still talking about how we're going to do, what we're going to use the money for, whether it's going to be building chimney sweep houses or doing educational programs. We had some special guests come to our meeting.
Oh yeah, I came once.
I think you came once and we discussed, I think it was tree ordinance.
Trees along right away.
Yeah, and that's one of the other pieces. We have we do deal with ongoing issues at request. We dealt with was it
Hopefully,
Oak Lane? Which, as we looked at Oak Lane, was sort of like trying to be diplomatic. Why did these people put trees over the gas lines? And the borough and the utility companies seem to be handling it, so we kind of deferred from that. But I think there was the expectation that we, as an EAC, would have been more, I don't know if concern is the right word, about them losing the trees and, oh, these beautiful trees shouldn't be cut down. And yes, we understand that, but we were sort of caught I kind of felt like we were caught in the crossfire on that one. And then I'm trying to think if there were any other issues. We looked into alternatives to Roundup, had a woman from, Food and Water Watch, Robin Lesko, who came with some excellent information on Roundup alternatives, particularly what will work with knotweed. And then I think we also looked into, do we revive solar? As in, since time has passed, is this something we want to go back and look at? Which I think that is kind of, that came up, we did an EAC meeting yesterday with Allegheny County Conservation District. And there's some interesting solar things that have been happening in some other boroughs, particularly solar on rooftops and grants for that. I expect that's gonna come back in our meeting, the next meeting we have. And I'm trying to think what else we dealt with. Just an up-to-date on permitting for removing water from Big Seward Creek. And the other one that's out there, and it will leak back into Birdtown, is light pollution as an issue. I think we maybe briefly discussed sidewalks. And then we're always open to whatever is a borough issue. The other big piece is that we'll be participating in the recreation and green space, which I think has huge potential. And I guess any questions or anything you?
I have a comment.
yeah, Lydia, I apologize. I don't know if you know everyone, but so council and mayor.
I was here, I think, last month, the month before.
Welcome again.
So you're the new mayor for the Monarch Pledge.
Yes, I guess I am. But I also just wanted to bring up, and I'm looking at my phone only because I had a text today from a concerned resident that attended a Friends of North Park meeting
Okay,
last night. I don't know if you're familiar. with
no, I
that.
wasn't.
But they're studying, there was a gentleman that was speaking and studying invasives, including deer, and also how they plant invasives, talking about Japanese knotweed, barberry, garlic mustard,
Yeah.
silt, grass, and bamboo. So I don't know, again, this is not my area of expertise. I'm just curious if these types of issues are being addressed.
Some of these, we have a knotweed issue in Acorn Park. It is being addressed. Some of the others have been, like the barberry, the garlic mustard. They've been on the radar for probably 10 years, 15 years. Stilt grass is a new one. It is a huge issue.
Okay.
I wish we could find something easy to get rid of it because it drives my husband absolutely nuts. Deer, an ongoing issue.
Yes,
And I don't know,
I've had a lot of questions about that.
and that is a hard one. I'd be curious to see where the questions are coming from.
Okay.
Because but, and again, I'm trying to be diplomatic.
Of course.
All the new development has taken deer habitat. We're no longer a borough with, I'm not saying whether we should or should not be. But 30 and 40 years ago, we had gun hunting. We had a lot fewer deer. We had more deer habitat, and it was not as much an issue. When we first moved into our house on the western end of the borough, my garden was not fenced for deer. Now I can't grow anything unless behind 10 feet of fencing. And we still have archery, but people are still there's a lot of sensitivity. I guess there's a lot of public education that could happen
Sounds like it.
around deer.
Sounds. Thank you.
Anything else you want us to work on? Oh, we looked into deer a couple of years ago with, should the borough be spaying the deer at $1,000 a crack?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Work.
Yeah.
Different financial position.
Yes.
The best.
Yeah.
And somebody who shall remain nameless on the EAC said, yes, but a bullet is about 50 cents. But that's kind of I think that's a good example of what I call rabbit holes that we tend to spend a lot of time and energy dealing with. And it's not the best use of our time and our knowledge.
Right. I just wanted to bring it up because it was presented to me,
People are concerned,
questioning, so, yes.
but we wish there was a magic answer. You know, us and much of the rest of the country.
Absolutely.
Something just went in my head and my head again, something that actually had been more of a win project. It'll come back. But, oh, I know. We lost several members off the EAC last year.
Are you looking for new members? Because I have somebody that
I think we have one open slot left.
I may talk to you, I may have somebody who would be interested.
And we've been very fortunate that we did get 2 new members at the end of the year. And both of the new members we got at the end of the year, one retired, one still working, were professional environmental consultants.
Okay.
And then we have at least one, so that gives us 3 or 4 professional environmental consultants on the EAC, as opposed to environmental activists. And these are the kind of people that if you guys went out and hired an environmental consulting firm to work on an issue, these are the people you would hire. And it really is that it gives you a good resource if the EAC gets some direction on this could be something helpful for us versus we tend to sometimes get activists who have personal agendas, which can be frustrating.
Okay.
And doesn't help you guys out. So yes, if you found a good person.
Perhaps. We can talk.
There is a process for that. They would need to fill out an application, submit it to Kathy. And go through the
Okay.
process. And they would come to council and be interviewed, and council actually the process.
Okay.
And that's when I was here last, was for the interviews for the 2 new EAC members, and I believe it might have been January.
Yes, I think that's before, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Letting the roadside cleanup day is the same day as Field Baseball's opening day at Blueberry Park. Jim just pointed out to me, so that corridor is gonna be pretty busy in the morning.
Oh, okay. Now we do have police protection, but we could probably spend all of our time at 5 points, but you're not gonna be able to see the trash. So I guess the police are gonna be busy.
Yeah, there's a parade, at, I think 10 to 10:30 is a good opening ceremony and then.
Yeah, I think
everyone's
that's when
gathered
our
and the
cleanup
games
day
start, and They'll
starts.
come back.
And
Yeah, so it'll be right around that same time when they're coming in and leaving a half hour later.
Games all day long.
And games all day and there's food and the Pirates help come do some things, so it's usually a fairly busy
it
day.
does. I was gonna say, there's gonna be a lot of people that can wave at us.
Yeah, a couple times I've done it, people honk and wave and say thank you.
Yeah, it's actually a really positive event. The other piece that's connected to that, and I don't know if this is something the borough could do. That 5 Points parking area. Where they sell corn in the summer. That space gets used a lot by work trucks, people pulling off there, I think, to eat their lunches. And there are some really bad litterers. And I didn't know if the borough could put a trash container, we could do a trash container with a sign. Oh, it's
Somebody owns that.
Yes.
We had a call about that. I think maybe when I forwarded the resident, maybe to you or to Jim, because she was complaining about that a lot of people sit there and throw things and not, but, and, you know, she was asking if you could target your litter cleanup. to
And we
include
did
that
last year.
area. You know, like I told her, it is, you know, private property, they can do the right of way, but they cannot.
So we could only put a trash can in the right away. And would we have to get permission to do that? But there's nothing stopping probably a private person from the great big world just putting a sign on the telephone pole that said, hey, here's a trash bag, put your trash in it.
Or some folks are waiting to take it down. Don't go there.
I think the property owner might be open to having a trash can put there, right?
Potentially, I will tell you that over
People
all
dump
the
every,
years,
people will actually pull off the road to dump their trash in it if they see.
Oh,
it.
Okay.
Yeah. Once it's Lynbrook, even if it's in Lynbrook and that lower, they stop them to their cars
Most
out.
people see it.
They fill up almost daily.
Sadly,
And then it comes to the- and then use it for it comes.
I tell them it's rude, it doesn't stick. You would hope, but then I would also wonder that if you are being that messy and you're littering, are you gonna pay attention and put it in a trash container? No,
Yeah,
no.
and plus a lot of the garbage is coming because people were throwing them out of their cars.
Right.
You can tell from the kind of garbage it is.
Well, there was somebody last year when we were doing our cleanup. Clearly, someone had been routinely stopping at Dunkin' Donuts and parking because there was next to a parking place, all of the litter.
Mhm.
But I was just wondering if it's potential, and I believe that property owner is a little bit challenging to deal with.
are you talking about the place where the store used to be? That?
No,
Or
the other
where
one.
mobility used to be?
Yeah.
My understanding is she hasn't responded.
They would say there's, and someone with a con stand.
That's it.
This is a con-
That's it.
Yeah. But they're allowing the corn. I know there have been questions in the last time I was doing EAC, that would have made a really nice parking. And we could not. We could not make that.
April 18th, not too late, right? So
No,
you'll get a vest, gloves, it is fun.
there's,
Several
I think,
donuts.
refreshments.
Donuts sometimes. And you get to pick up stuff. But you find a lot of interesting stuff.
You get a really, really good idea of the alcohol preferences.
The last,
Got a CD one time, but very interesting.
My kids have brought
Yeah.
balls home twice,
Balls,
very excited.
auto parts, yeah.
It's a nice thing what we brought them, because I did bring some stuff out. No.
You can improve it.
They have those.
Yes, thank you.
I just want to confirm that you have the waivers. That you have
Yes,
participants signed.
yes, that is part of the whole process. If they do that, they do, and then they're on our list for
mentioned deer, very interestingly, the city of Pittsburgh has been having a problem right now. Implemented not do the culling or anything, but targeted enforcement deer.
Yes.
For target, so, they said the results are pretty good. They're trying to grocery store now, or something they're both part of. But, I've talked to the cameras, there's been a weekend of culling.
Yes.
The other organization that does that is Sewickley Heights.
So that's today, we neighborhood, right? Very
We
close.
neighbor Sewickley Hills, but Sewickley Heights actually does, and they've done this, I think, for at least the last 10 years, because we would get all the boarding stables, all the people riding on the trails in Sewickley Heights Park, we would get a notification that there's a culling, stay off the trails.
Yes, okay.
And there used to be, years ago, a group called, I think it was the Sewickley Hunting and Fishing Club. And they actually had rights to hunt particular pieces of property, and I think they may have, I don't know that that was just bow hunting.
It was not, because my dad was involved in that, and he was not a bow.
And that was back in the day where, for all practical purposes, we were calling.
So currently we're not calling your
I think we have
We do
an
have,
archery.
we have an archery program.
archery.
Here's the markers around.
Well, that's something where the game commission has to like grant an exception, so you can go out and, harvest these out of season.
That's, yeah, when I took the council, they did mention that that's been an application, there's something established that they need to do. It's like later in the year.
And I think there's also an agricultural exemption, that if you are a farm,
Mhm.
I think, and we do have some farms in Franklin Park, that perhaps the farmers would cooperate in a culling.
What's the definition of a farm in Franklin Park? Anybody know?
Circles.
I don't know, but the zoning,
Agricultural use, that it would be just a farm, it would be.
Okay.
As an agricultural use.
And so many acres, I would assume.
It probably depends on what legislation we're taking it from, but for some purposes, you have to net a profit from what you're yielding. I think it's like $10,000.
Okay,
I'm forgetting what the other requirement is, but it would depend on what
that makes
legislation.
sense. Okay.
now to keep livestock, zoning regulations are pretty strict. I think you need 7 acres for a horse, which is about 3 times what you actually, yeah.
I thought it was 2 or 3.
Oh, no, I don't think so. I think it's 7.
Okay.
Because one of the things that actually works against the filtgrass is hogs, pigs. And I joked about have my husband getting a pig, but we only have 3 acres, and I don't think we are allowed no pigs, no horses, no cows, and I think it's 5, isn't it 5 for chickens?
No, we changed it.
Thank you.
Yeah, we changed it. I wanna say it's down to
Like 2.
two.
You can have a chicken if you want.
You want some chickens, you gotta have 2 acres, then you can have chickens, and then if you get more acres, you get more chickens. It's all good. No roosters, no roosters, but you can have chickens.
Oh, but then how are the 4 chickens happy?
Sorry. Did my best.
I know, and that's where I get into demographics and some of the conflict of old Franklin Park. And there's still some old Franklin Park around, and new Franklin Park, where I can understand why you don't want a rooster in the middle of a housing plan. But
Look, I think that this is probably a good way to end this, but there were chickens wandering around in front of the Borough building that police had to grab them, and I think that was kind of the end of the whole, let's just let chickens run free.
Well,
We were done.
you are not a good chicken parent. A good chicken parent does not let chickens roam free because
Yeah.
hawks eat chickens. Coyotes and raccoons and all the other.
Thank you.
So anytime you think of anything or people in your constituents bring up an issue that would be something the EAC can provide value on, you know, we'd be more than happy to have it passed along.
Thank you.
Thank you, I'm gonna give you back your seat.
No worries, and some of us will see you on the 18th.
Yes, I think, yes, I'm planning, and I need to see it about,
And it's at the YMCA, the meet that morning.
I believe there will be more details coming out, but I believe we will be meeting at the ones.
And the waivers can be signed then.
Yes,
Awesome. Okay, thank you again for coming.
you are
yeah.
welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome to hang out if you want.
Hey,
See, okay, so on to, all right, so we reviewed the agenda, we're good there. Let's see, reports from staff, engineers, solicitors. So, we. Yeah, Gary, report.
I have nothing to add in addition to what Max submitted, so that's reports in your packet. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those. We will have an item for executive session.
Okay, yep, that's right. Staff's here. Okay, doing a finance update or?
Unfortunately, I didn't have the report of finance in your packet, and I don't have to be honest. But we actually got our DCED filed today, so we're making good progress. There's one item I did want to mention, as you all may be, aware, there's a regional asset district tax in Allegheny County. It's a 1% tax. Why we pay 7% instead of 6%, it's paid throughout the rest of the state. And municipalities do get a portion of that money back from the county. And one of the stipulations is if we receive more RAD funds in one year, in the current year than we received in the prior year, 25% of that increase must be given to an organization that is multi-municipal. And in the past, we've given it either to the Ambulance Authority or the Northland Library. Now, in 2025, we received less money than 2024, so we didn't have to give any money away. But I'm sorry, in 2024 versus 2023, but in 2025, we actually received $18,313 more in 25 than in 24. So we've got to contribute $4,575.03 to a multi-municipal organization. So council needs to decide whether you want it to be the library or the Ambulance Authority or split between the two.
And this is not a part of the, what we were gonna commit to,
No, this is above and
this
beyond.
is above and beyond that, so, no double dip on it. So,
Yes.
do you decide now or?
If you want to decide now, then we can have it on the agenda for approval in April and.
And just propose to split it between the Ambulance
Any
Authority
split
and
between two, or is there,
and the
is there an issue with doing that or?
Well, it would be above and beyond what we committed to, but can we use it for that portion of the funds that
No.
we committed to? I think,
That's what I think we're
It's
doing.
totally different.
gotcha.
So just split it between the library and the Ambulance Authority.
What do you want to get the extra penny?
Who gets the extra? Unless it's symbolic, that's definitely the library.
I think give it to the ambulance authority.
So we round this, pennies are no longer.
Anybody?
Well, no, but you can do that, you can do the stupid penny on the paper that we're gonna use to write the check, right? That's gonna cost like 50 cents for the check, round the penny for that.
Round it down, though, round it down.
We'll have it on the agenda. I'll decide on the thing.
Okay, Gary.
All right, yeah, I get a couple things I want to add. I was talking with Kathy there, we were discussing the agenda for the motion to approve the bar and chip on, that was through the bid that we had, what I wanted to explain on that is through the regular budget, I had budgeted $70,000 to do that road down on the B road for it's called a fiber mat that we were gonna do down there. It came through on the bid came through at $76,579. So that's above what we had in the budget, okay, but I was already projecting that because that's going through our outside services. So the money is in there to go ahead and do this. In case anybody sees that, You know, and like I said, we're looking, you know, basically, I wanna get that, you know, on the agenda so we can approve that. And, I just wanted to, you know, basically, if somebody sees that in the budget saying it was 70,000, and why did we approve it, you know, at 76? You know, the money's in there because it's on outside services, so anybody has any other questions on that? I just wanted to explain that part of it there, so. The other thing I want to say is, the salt, for the salt dome is completely filled. We have a little bit, under some tarp on the outside here, so, spent a lot of money on salt this year. Used 4,345 tons of salt this year. It wasn't one of our highest seasons, but, with the amount of money that's gone in, there was a close to the budget. The price was up pretty high this year, it was like $388,000. We spent on salt. And then the only other thing I have is, spoke with Laura a while back on the FCC license that you mentioned at one time. The FCC license went through, everything's approved, we're good for 10 years on that, so, that, everything's approved on, for license for trucks for the use of the FCC license. So everything went good on that, so that was a list of help Andy. Andy had a couple, he had a contact up in Pittsburgh, we went through on, through a company called Bearcom up there, so. I think everything worked out good and, was all approved, so. And, that's all I have, in case anybody has any questions.
The tarp, you said there is some salt under the tarp, right?
Yeah, we have there's probably 75 tons under a tarp, but it's all
Sure.
covered, everything's covered, so we've had it under tarps before over there. There's still a possibility we might possibly have to get another, possibly 100 ton, unless they let us go on this, because we have two different salt companies that we deal with, American Rock Salt and Morton. The one, we didn't meet the minimum on it, so I'm not sure whether we're gonna have to buy that or not, so we still have a couple months down the line, if we can get that in any time, so if we have to get it at some point, I'll just put it off later into the summer. And get it under the tarps, and like I said, we've done it before, it's all contained, so, and there won't be, no problem where we have it, so.
Any question? Thanks.
Okay, the zoning hearing board has no applications for this month. And the planning commission will, be looking again at the Cardinal Ridge townhomes. They tabled it from last month for more information. Requested, they come back.
There's an application for zoning.
Louise? Who?
Gentlemen? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's no new applications.
New, okay.
So that was just, governing is still on the agenda for, it was held over from June. That's okay. So. That's all I have. Thanks.
You have my report. We had Easter last weekend, went well, a little cold, but overall, we actually had a better showing than we usually have, as far as people registering and not showing up. So like I said, overall, just good event, no issues. That's all I had.
Start with the golf course. We opened March 9th was the official opening day. Obviously with the weather, it's been some days we were closed off and on throughout the rest of the month. Overall, at the end of the month, it was a good month with the sales. For the new members on council, I do my report the first of the month and I give them to Kathy, so that's why you'll get them within usually a couple of days after. There's just a front spreadsheet. This just has numbers, and then with our POS system that has a nice breakdown month to date, year to date that we'll see monthly. And there's actually I've put in like a group sales to show where all the sales are going from month to month. But since COVID, this was it was our best March we've had since COVID. So the numbers keep increasing there. On the golf course, and then in the park side of things, we're still working on field 4. And unfortunately, we won't be ready for opening day, but hopefully sometime mid spring towards the end, we should have field 4 done and be a much better ball field. There's a lot of work that went on. Field 4 was almost 7.5 feet from home plate to outfield, so we kind of balanced that slope out, pulled home plate up, and we're lowering the outfield. That'll help the water drainage that moves into field 3, so that should help field 3 be a better playing surface as well. But the only thing I wanted to mention we've looked at robots before and within the park system and some of the bigger ones. They also have a smaller robot that they have a program out right now. It's a 5-month trial. I was looking to possibly do it here at the actual Borough building where it would mow all our grass here. It takes usually 2 guys, about 2 hours to mow here each week. And we usually go like a 5-day cycle just because it's irrigated and fertilized and it does grow a lot. So it's $1,500 for the entire 5-month. It costs us about $2,500 to $3,000. And that's the amount just in the labor, not including the fuel and the mowers. So I was asking council if there was possibility of trying this trial run with this robotic mower to see how it works and how it may be used in the future within this park system.
It's a question I have on that. My last job was a union environment and it involved, operators and mechanics. And, if you ask the operators, grab a wrench and, turn on something, they'd file a grievance. Is that something we would have to be concerned about here with having robots potentially,
No, because, we have so much work to do. There's so many projects, Acorn Park, Blueberry, ball fields that, mowing is nice, but mowing is the most basic part of their job. And there's so much more to do, on that end. And I don't think that, I don't think we'd ever have an issue with that because it's, our jobs are endless, our projects are endless. So
I would agree that it'd be very low on the priority list for grievance.
Nice thing with the mowers, it'll mow in the rain, it'll mow at 2 in the morning, it mows whenever I tell it to mow. So,
sure.
there's no vacations on the mower, so, but no, we have so much work to do. Especially this year, we have the ball field with Acorn, the blueberry patch this summer, so all these properties we bought, so there's, plenty of work to do. But we're always, I would say we're behind, but we're never caught up.
Sure.
So that frees them up. It's easier in the summertime because we have summer help to help with mowing. The hardest part for the guys is we have 4 guys that mow. And so it takes about 3.5 days to get everything mowed between all the parks. So it gives us 2 days maybe to do projects once we start mowing in a week or 2. So that definitely frees up labor for them to do with, we all like mowing, but they like doing projects because it's something that's lasting, that when they build something, the community sees it and they like the gratification of that as well. So I think, for that small amount of 1,500, I think it's a good win-win.
Council, any questions?
Is that money already within your budget, or are you asking for it above and beyond?
It'd be technically above and beyond, but we're the labor, the cost that we would be putting into labor than mowing with mowers, we're gonna, because it's 1,500 and we'll probably spend 3,000 on labor. Cause the only thing they'd have to do is once a week come by with a weed eater, kind of clean up the edges. So, so it's not costing us more, it's kind of a wash, if not a little bit of a savings, in that respect.
How big is a mower? Is it like a small?
It's not, it's maybe a little bigger than your push mower at home, but it does about the same swath. A 21-inch cut is what it does.
And it's autonomous, so it'll go home and charge and everything.
It's all autonomous. It runs off satellites. So once you have everything in, and through our phone, through an app, I can tell when to go out, which direction to go, and it knows when to go back home, just charge and come back and finish. It mows. It can mow up to 2 acres in a 24-hour period if it mowed on. Around here, it isn't that much. So, in my opinion, I'd probably be out every other day.
Yeah.
And the research and just from using these mowers, the grass looks so much better because we don't have the pressure of the big mowers and the health, the overall health is a big thing.
Was that 2 years ago, Jim, when you tried that mower?
We had it on the football field for about 2 weeks. Yes. Yeah. Same type. That one was about twice the size of this one. This is more smaller, areas of for around here. But it runs on the same system, same program, same setup.
So it's using electricity, not fossil fuel.
It's electricity, there's electric.
Do we need to, insure it?
What's that?
Do we need to insure it? Is there a?
The only thing is,
That's
certificate of insurance that we have, yes.
Do you know that there are other communities that have used this service before?
So when we were looking at it 2 years ago, they had if you purchased one, for municipalities, there was a 20% discount. That had gone away, that is coming back to municipalities. Right now, used a lot on golf courses, more and more. So that's where most of the trial and error has been coming from, but it is infiltrating more and more into municipal home use, bigger estates. Venues, concert venues that have grassy areas. They can mow whatever you tell them to mow, so.
Because you just said that we can then try that the trial for like 5 months and the cost is 15.
1,500 well, it's $333 a month or 1,500 one time. It's a 5 month. And at the end of the 5 months, if you want to keep it, there's it's normally it's 12,000 for the unit. They discount it down to like 9,900, and then that 20% come on top of that as well if you wanted to keep that unit.
So the cost will increase like after the trial, right?
Well, after the 5 month, they would come take it, but if we wanted to purchase it, we would have to look, but that would have to be in next year's budget if we think it's something that would help us long term. So that's kind of that's the flyer of it. That's what it kind of looks like.
I'm assuming a purchase, that's a one-time cost plus whatever maintenance.
Yes, and yeah, so the maintenance on it, I mean, it's almost like they're like little razor blades. So every few weeks you just change them out. They're just literally razor blades, and that's about. There's some cleaning maintenance that the guys would have to pick them up once a week and get some of the grass and clean up. But other than that, there's not a lot of maintenance to it.
And does it do, like the outfields of the ballpark, the
So
fields, or does it do like the?
It can do whatever, so
Common
this
area.
is, the other one we had in Blueberry, like we had it on the football field, that's where it's charging our home station was. But I had a program, we sent it all, if you know Blueberry,
Yeah,
well, I sent it from the football pavilion all the way up to field 2, and it would mow field 2 and then come back on the station.
And like the common areas along.
Yeah, it can mow wherever you program it to mow, and like here, like the trees, we have like, they call them like stay out areas, it knows where to stay out, and it moves very slowly, so if a person's standing there, it'll bump and then it'll know to turn around and go the other direction, and there's, if you try to reach and grab under it, it automatically stops, and there's no way, you're not gonna get hurt or cut by it or anything that way.
But then
Need to operate phone all the time,
With that,
grading, someone need to operate it from a mobile phone all the
it
time.
runs on it, once it's programmed and pinned, it knows the areas it has to mow, so I just program on the phone, when I want it to go out and what areas I want it to do. So, and it'll keep mowing, once it knows when it's down to 20, or whatever percentage it needs to get home, it'll go home and charge and come back and finish whatever task we tell it to do.
And, excuse me, and then who is in charge of the like chalking of the fields and the infield, dirt, for the
Baseball,
infield?
baseball maintains it, they do,
The-
we
the
mow
coaches.
grass, the association takes care of those kind of things. The infields, we have a machine that we'll grade fields, but they do all their own chalk and all that's their maintenance, we don't,
That's not us.
that's not the parks guys.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds like legit. Excited. Let us know.
Yeah, so you'll see it out here probably within a week or two. It'll be out and running and mowing.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks. Sorry.
Just two quick updates to our written report. Acorn Park NPDS permit, the update in the report was we had resubmitted. Since then, the permit revision has been issued, so I'll move with conservation issue DEP to finish the project there. And the only other thing to add to Gary's report on the seal coat bid, I will say that the bids you got are pretty favorable. They're in line with what we've seen elsewhere, so if you're inclined to award it, I think this is a good number to award. Let me see. We're happy with what you're saying. Other than that, have to answer questions that Councilman have.
Thank you. Yeah, Chief?
You have my report. Only thing I would want to note on there is March 30th was Officer Poster's last day. He officially retired. I did invite him to the April, council meeting, him and his family. Unfortunately, they are not able to attend that day. I'm checking to see if they're available for the May council meeting. And if you have any questions about my report, I'm more than happy to answer.
Okay, so thank you everyone, you're welcome to stick around or leave or whatnot, but say we need you. Hopefully not for long.
And I do just want to. My last time.
What's the way? You like them to discuss, the we all need the thing.
Oh, I saw.
Yeah, this is.
Okay.
Yeah, you was there until I go. That is possible, yeah.
And for you, it seems there's nothing big like that.
You're gonna say on it.
We know where that, thank you.
Is the personnel item in executive session police?
Yes, yeah, I called it.
So here it has to stay.
Thank you, though, Reese. I appreciate that.
Right.
All right, okay, so should we go to it, give me discussion items?
No.
Yeah, okay, all right, moving along. Okay, so, ALON call for action, public notices and advertising, because if I understand it, there's a bill in the state house, and then there's that is there an ALON requisition also?
I'm not sure. I saw this from, well, this was from Avon. That just said, use your voice, urge your state representatives to vote no on House Bill 1291, support the amendment to allow local governments to use their own website or the county website. for public votes.
Okay. Just so everyone knows, is the state, so I read this a little bit, I think, yeah, I think I saw that on, sent an email out regarding this, so. Right now, you have to use Post Gazette or whatever paper physically to like advertise the ordinances, is everyone aware of like the issue or?
So is Post Gazette still publishing?
And they were supposed to be closing in May. There's been rumblings that they may not be closing anymore.
Okay. And I still, when I go out and about, see like papers.
Yeah, they're still publishing through, I think May
I
3rd.
think they are May 3rd and then the trip
Every
is
day,
supposed to.
every day or just?
They
Sundays?
post physical papers on Thursdays and Sundays.
Thursdays,
Right. And then the Trib now is gonna have a North edition starting Saturday, April 9th. It will only be Saturdays. So we'll have to switch from the Post Gazette to the Trib. So it's the cost of advertising as well as we have to get a subscription to the paper to make sure that the ads are in when they're supposed to be. So it's cumbersome. Not many people get the paper anymore.
Yeah, practically speaking, it's not gonna be noticed.
But the newspaper lobby,
Yeah,
It's
it's a
very strong.
huge part of the revenue. Obviously.
So the ads are very expensive. So
Yeah.
it both helps.
Look at the Thursday
Yeah,
paper.
very
municipal ads.
so
Is that a Pittsburgh question?
no, no, we'd have to get the physical paper because we have to make sure. The ads are required to be in a newspaper of general circulation, not just digital.
We are allowed to take advantage of like the digital, because the Post Gazette does publish more often than just Thursday and Sunday, but
Yes.
they with digital editions, but we have to publish in physical editions. So it's been a limiting factor. And limits.
Right,
Yeah.
and right now, like, the deadline for the Thursday North, which is cheaper, the Sunday paper is about 5 times more expensive. So if you don't make it in for Thursday, it's more expensive, and the deadline is a week in advance. So it's just difficult when things come up last minute. trying to get something in.
I think we have to protect our residents from those types of expenses, so we need to hope that we can get the posting on the website.
And we do post all advertisements on the website. We do that now, but we're still required to publish.
So the, I understand there's two competing laws out there for proposed laws. One is the one Alon is recommending voting against, which is keep publishing the advertising rate, keep, this missing like this more.
It doesn't say, it just says urgent vote against House Bill 1291 and support amendment to allow us to use our emails.
Yeah,
Well,
the amendment,
supporting your amendment is that's what you want.
yeah, support the amendment.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on this?
Is our representative aware of our position on this,
Well, that's what I'm asking if we can,
or do we let them know?
So I will say that the representative that represents this area is a co-sponsor of that bill.
Okay.
And the senator that represents this area is a sponsor of the amendment.
Okay.
However, that's what I've researched, just everyone's aware.
That's topsy-turvy for me, but whatever.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay, Becca is the sponsor.
Yeah, I got you.
Legislation.
Yeah.
Robinson, the sponsor of the amendment.
Well, the amendment needs to be supported.
Yeah, so the reason they're supporting the bill is to protect, like small town publishers. There's a journalism that like works in like, I don't know, take 28 to like some random county or Putnam County where there's no one put there. So I think that's the idea behind it. I guess the amendment allows digital only if you want to just go digital only, so.
I guess my point would be that I'm not certain that it really. That it's almost like getting all the revenue for to support the newspaper, so it continue to do the small town reporting and all that stuff. By having the municipality pay exorbitant amounts for legal advertising, and for that reason, I would be against it.
It sounds like you can't have the bill without the amendment anyways. Okay, so do we send a letter saying what Alon tells us? He's recommending that. Is that what
I
we're
figure,
gonna do?
you know, if you say it's okay, I'll get with Zach. when
Yeah,
he gets
cool.
back next
Yep.
week and.
Are you guys okay with that? Like,
So we need the bill to pass with the amendment.
yeah,
Right, you're just putting a letter like on behalf of all council or
It would be
on
on-
behalf of?
It would be
Franklin
on
Park?
on behalf of.
the borough, which is council. Not council individually, but.
The residents have voted you to make decisions for them.
Like this.
It would be a letter in support, essentially, just saying the borough's supportive of this position or aligns with Alon's view.
And there are a number of these things that happen regularly. If you read through the Borough magazine, which our junior councilperson has, there is a section on there with like all these resolutions and boroughs can submit letters to support or not support, et cetera. So this one happens to come up, yeah, digital advertising was in the future, yeah, nothing's ever guaranteed, but that's what the ask for, so. How do you all feel about it? Do you want to have the borough support the amendment?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I was
Okay, yeah.
wondering what the letter's actually coming from. Because if you just say the Borough of Franklin Park in general.
Yeah.
It feels less,
Oh, the council.
yeah, unless, not necessarily that it's from us, but that there's actually named people, right? as
Yeah,
opposed
we
to-
like named on there.
But that's getting in the weeds, so as long as we send the letter, I don't really care.
Yeah. Yeah, any objections to sending the letter and taking threat, supporting the amendment? Okay, alright. Okay, the data center ordinance, the reason I put it back on here is we had worked on this, for Brian, personally particularly, so. Just want to get this moving and get it out there. I know there's a lot of moving out there within a year. There's probably gonna be something happening at the state level, pops over there, but with the ordinance, took a look at it again. The only thing that's been updated in there, Brian about this yesterday, is a water testing requirement. It wasn't in there originally, right?
Right, I read mine and it's,
Yeah.
people can look at it and it mirrors the sound testing stuff.
Yep.
So we're trying to protect everybody from all the different things that could happen, and that's why mirrored the sound testing, the water testing.
Yeah, and this is something that's been spent some time in Harrisburg yesterday for a meeting, and folks on the other side are saying, like, this is something they're constantly complaining about, like, recently. It is the water discharge and the testing of it, the lack of ordinances is, because of that, they're not able to like enforce that. So any of the contamination coming out of data centers is basically happening, they're discharging.
So we had to kind of foreclose that,
Yeah.
so this is why there's testing that goes on, it's testing at their cost, just like our sound testing.
Exactly.
There's violations that are issued if there's a problem with it. So yes,
Did you send us that red line plan?
I think it's saying,
Is it in my email or?
I think it's in his email to share, yeah, so because it couldn't get on the agenda per se with the.
But it's the same file, right? So.
Yeah.
Yep, so if you go to the folder.
I think it might be, yeah. Oh, it's on the network. Let me see.
Yeah, it's on the network.
If it's not, let's make sure everybody has it. So,
But is everyone okay with that update, the water testing requirement?
In general, yeah, but.
just needs to read the
Yeah,
language.
that's fine.
yeah. Let me see if this is updated with my red line or we need to.
Well, I'm not gonna read it right now, so.
No, just make sure it's in here for you. I don't see this drop down. It's fine. It's not. Okay.
Okay, so do you want to take a look at it, Laura, and then just? Let us know?
Absolutely.
Okay, any other questions on this or? Okay. So moving on to solar panels, so put this on the agenda because there's a question from the community and they have questions also, and I'm sure others are as well. Some of our, we have an ordinance in place with solar panels and, for example, if a garage is detached, can't have solar panels, maybe you're understanding it. We're just want to see, like, are there things we can update? Just for this, Tim, that's one reason why you're here.
Well,
Perspective.
first of all, we redid the ordinance, after one of our comprehensive plans. We did start regulating pretty much all forms of alternative, electric energy, things like that. So, what we did was everything that had to do with solar panels was regulated through the conditional use process. Well, early on, we had an appeal from a resident, and when it went before the zoning hearing board, they said that because they wanted to put solar panels on the roof of their house, they said that, this is not an accessory use to be regulated by the ordinance. It is a utility. They stopped at principal uses. So thank God they did that, because we never appealed that, and we just run with it, and we issue building permits for solar panels all the time on houses. So I probably, honestly, last year, I think I probably issued more solar panel permits than I did deck permits. Because government was giving them away, I guess. But we still regulate them on accessory use buildings and standalone. So we do get significant amount of applications for conditional use for that. And I think what the planning commission is doing is grumbling about so many applications. So whether you guys want to think that we should continue to regulate that, or not regulate that, or make some sort of an adjustment, I think that's what their concern is.
So if you want to, you build a house and has an attached garage.
Which is detached garage.
Detached, yeah,
So that's, or a shed, or the pool house, or anything like that.
Still kind of separate though.
Yeah, if you want to put it on that, you have to come through the conditional use process, because that's not. That wasn't addressed in the zoning hearing board. So, we still require that to come through the conditional use process.
And Tim, if a person were to attach a garage, if they're gonna replace the roof, would they have to come through conditional use for that?
No, nobody has to come through with the roof placement on a residential.
Oh, okay,
Unless you're unless you're adjusting, making the roof peak higher or something like that.
I'm just trying to find an example.
Yeah, honestly, this is a whole different animal, so, you may wanna get rid of the requirement at some time for, these energy devices to be put on existing structures.
Yeah.
But I would still keep the freestanding arrays as a conditional use, because these people are gonna want to put them anywhere, and they can be huge.
I think, yeah, I think it's a big difference between sticking it on your roof, like,
Right.
that should be really easy to do these days, I think. But the array, that's a little bit different. That might be-
Like a whole other structure.
Okay,
Yeah,
I don't like that.
so I think we need to make a distinction there, and then I think we need to update the ordinances.
I agree.
And we got enough ordinance stuff coming up, but we can stick this in somewhere.
That's the way.
I'm sure the solicitor will help us with that.
For me, if it's on somebody's house or if it's on their garage.
That's their thing.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I mean, it's
But-
on top of an existing roof, and the regulations say that it can't be any higher than 18 inches off the surface of the roof, so.
Technology wise, that's probably pretty normal these days too. They've gotten more flat and more, you know.
Give me the gap between a panel and the other.
Right, yeah, so some of these things, if you remember back in the day, old enough, some of you may not be. When they had the big round antenna satellite dishes.
Yeah.
I think that these regulations stem from that, because that would have been considered an accessory use, and be put on the roof, nobody wanted to see that, hanging off the roof, so that's where the regulations stem from, so now, I mean. It is a utility, the arrays, but there are people that wanna do them on the ground because they can get a better location, or they can put more of them up, or for whatever reason. But then, they're gone off ugly.
Yeah.
On the ground, on the roof, you don't
The roof
realize,
cares.
yeah, nobody cares, but
Yeah, if you're gonna cover all your grass with solar panels, that's. a
yeah,
different
that's
discussion.
crazy.
Is there any objection to this? Okay, good. Way to modernize it. Work with secrecy.
I'm sure ordinances we've talked about, but this will be an MPC ordinance, so we would have to have a public hearing. And follow that process with double advertising, so it's not something we can fix by this month's meeting, but we can
Oh, yeah,
definitely
yeah.
include for.
Well,
that
we can put
agenda.
this in, we can put it with the data center and or the, cell tower, or
Same
all
time.
that stuff.
Same
We're gonna have a
Any zoning amendment.
bunch of changes. We're gonna be adopting the zoning now.
We-
A lot of good stuff we can stick in on.
We have this for like next month to like,
To review it,
yeah, I guess review it.
yeah, definitely.
Okay. So it is just enabling, business on anything.
Existing, do we want to include new accessory structure roofs on residential properties or just existing?
When you say new, it would be like, what else?
Like if someone built a shed, that
Yeah.
doesn't exist currently, are you okay with
I
it?
think do it.
Yeah, it could be anything.
The shed.
I'm just
You're
thinking,
not getting some power off of that, but.
well, it's a metal.
Well, there are people that want to put it on sheds.
Yeah.
Charge your, the wall patterns.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. That's good. You could light up your shed with it.
Yeah.
Well, without a conditional use, without a conditional use, approval, sheds can be up to 1,000 square feet.
Yeah, we talked about that already. Are you hinting at maybe you want it to be a little bit smaller before the?
No, I think, I think that everything fits like a glove now.
Okay.
Maybe you could power, full beverage refrigerator for the power plant.
Well, that's important.
It's a little, yeah.
So Sam, if somebody wants to do this after we fix this ordinance, they just have to file an application, once they don't, is it?
Yeah, we'll just issue the permit. Actually, the way the code's written, we would issue a zoning permit for it. The only time that we would have to issue a permit, a building permit would be if it's on a structure, because it's a change to the structural integrity of the roof because of the way wind loads and things like that. So we do issue building permits for those installations, but if somebody was gonna put it on a garage under 1,000 square feet, we just issue a zoning permit.
Sounds good. Okay, all right, so that's it. course, we council mayor, Pete.
What is the application fee charges with the flat price or is it paying a flat rate?
For the zoning, for a zoning permit, it's a flat fee. For a building permit, it's based on cost of construction.
For the, let's say them the solar paneling, the thousand watts.
Well, if the solar panels are being put on, a roof, of a home, of an existing home, and let's say they tell us that that cost is gonna be $15,000. That permit would be, $122. If it was just a zoning permit for it to be put on a roof of a shed or a detached garage, it would only be 50.
Because it's an accessory.
Because it's an accessory and we don't deal with the structural portion of the accessory structure. Most still over 1,000 square feet.
Just significantly cheaper than the current conditional use process, which.
Yeah.
Public hearings.
Yeah, if you're gonna put it on a shed,
Portal.
the conditional use process is gonna be $1,000 plus.
Yeah, one more question, the solar panel thing, a covered patio, would that be covered under what we're doing, ordinance update?
Well, if it's a covered patio and that cover is attached to the house, it will be part of the dwelling.
Yeah, well, okay. If it's not attached, it's not part of the house, it should be accessory.
Well, so if it's occupiable, if it's, let's say it's a picnic shelter.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we would charge building code prices because it's occupied. The reason why the building code doesn't acknowledge sheds and detached garages under 1,000 square feet is because nobody's really, living in a shed or a garage, and unless you're me or somebody that's really named your wife.
I was just like.
That's not really. So,
Okay,
That would be an accessory structure.
yeah, okay.
Yes, so
That's
it'd
what I was
be,
thinking.
yeah, so even though a picnic pavilion would be an accessory structure, it would be occupied. You'd expect people to be there, so structurally it would have to be adequate and the building code regulates that, no matter what size.
Report, anything else to report?
Well, generally, some of the people asking, I saw report the paving and happening, is it happening just in any way I can see it, or how many streets are happening this year, but,
Are we at that point? This is the point of the year where we figure out paving, or
yeah, I don't know what Gary's plans are. I would assume he's gone out and taken a look at the streets to make determination on which ones to do. And, I would assume the asphalt plants are open by now because it's warm. Yeah. So it's all a matter of when the milling company's ready to roll in. So I would guess that, well, we start working the 10-hour days in May, so you would expect the paving program to probably start then, so we'll be trying to get the milling company in here during April, at least to get started. So that we could start laying the asphalt in May.
Gary's report said May, we're going to start, that's his report.
That's usually, our public works crew goes to 4 10-hour days. Because they get a lot more done when they stay on the job and they're paving for 10 hours rather than breaking up 5 8 hours. It's a lot set up and tear down each day.
So Andy, thanks for the work on those emails. I don't know if anybody else has been getting them, but somebody's been sending. The spammy, phishing emails claiming to be Zach trying to get information out of it.
Oh.
Yeah, for me, yeah, did you?
What's that?
You didn't get any from me yet?
No. Whatever you're doing is working.
He paid $1,000.
I think I've got like 4 or 5 of them in the past week, so it's just something to be aware of in case they start spreading more things. Then the only other thing in that same email that led to the discussion about the solar panels, there's also some concerns about the amount of sidewalk or lack thereof in certain areas, so maybe that's something whenever Zach is found, we can talk about that then.
yeah, I meant to like put that on here as well, but since we're having a roundtable, going around talking about it. That particular location, we've looked at it, it's not optimal because of the two homes that are there, the closest to the street. Just for everyone's knowledge, this is in front of Franklin Elementary, this is continuing the sidewalk for those three Solid Rock homes that are on Rochester Road, to get to Franklin Elementary, on the same side of the street, it is literally two homes that have been there for like 100 years. 100 years.
As long as I've been around.
Okay,
One of them's definitely no more.
yeah, it was a long house, yes, so, I think one of them's building that's sure. Yeah, but yeah, that, I have no idea. Yeah, and what it is putting a sidewalk in the homeowner, which we've had discussion about here. Agreed to take stuff, there needs to be maintenance to these things up. And also like those homes are still for some of the residents, what would the that in terms of the whole front. But there are like other areas of opportunities in the borough, so it's just a matter of looking at the comprehensive plan and rec plan, seeing what kind of walkabilities out there. Vagrants too, so these are definitely supposed to be food diverse, but it might be some creative solutions too, instead of having square, concrete pavers, slabs, maybe it's asphalt or something. Or just 5 initial.
Well, depends on where you do that.
Yeah.
That's a state road.
State road too.
You would have to do each of the concrete sidewalk.
Yeah.
Each of the
Unless they match.
And that's a narrow, that could be 33-foot wide in areas. I'm not just the road there, because those telephone poles are real close. You might have a prevent problem. Yeah. They have a look for it. Yeah.
And the other side of the street doesn't look very good. But yeah, so that's. But yeah, let's add this back. So it's similar.
Ask a question.
Yeah.
So I know this had come up at the planning commission meeting. I was unfortunately not at this last meeting, but a colleague covered it. Is this something that you would like to hold off from doing anything until we get a direct,
Yeah.
request from council?
Yeah, definitely. That's part of what's spurred it, and then there's just a lot of questions around it, and I've had questions as well, and others have, Brian. Everyone in council's having questions too, so, definitely want to hold up.
Okay, perfect.
We can research it and figure out.
Tim and I can make sure that this stays off the agenda.
Yeah.
Until it needs to, if it wants to come back or anything.
Yep, they can let us know.
Sounds good.
Person, that's correctly.
Oh, yeah, and does Borough get the updated information for the construction, non-10 and highway and the 79 and intersection for the update information and.
And, are they sending stuff around?
And
Yeah.
Donna posts, as soon as she gets it, she posts it on the website.
Yeah.
So she posted, okay, and so because of that, I was approached by a few residents asking, what is the progress of the construction and the whether like,
And they can sign up to their, I forget who the contact is, but you can email whoever it is and they'll put you on the distribution. And I get an email like once a week,
okay.
whenever anything's going on.
Yes. Because I thought that the recommendation that was in the forum and I can update it.
I just said they don't, really that I'm aware of, they don't provide us with updates on the project. It's more like traffic alerts and those kind of things, but I don't know.
Yeah, that, I think
I'm on the same.
I believe the website you can go to.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
Kind of follow it.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, okay, so, I've been told that there's never a stupid question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway, because I'm trying to educate myself. Looking at reports and things online, I'm trying to understand what's the difference and the lines of authority. Some things are called committee, some things are called council, some things are called commission. How do those committees, councils, and commissions relate to this council? From a reporting level and, are they elected? Are they appointed? Are they volunteers?
I can help with this
Yeah.
question.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's helpful.
Thank you.
So essentially you have council, which is the governing body.
Right here.
You're all elected officials. Below that, we have our other bodies, commissions, committees. Some of those are created by state statute. So for instance, your planning commission and your zoning hearing board are created by the municipality's planning code, which is legislation that allows us to provide for zoning and development. Those members are appointed by this body. So they have terms similar to your elected terms, but they're not elected by the public at large. They're appointed by this body. And then you have your committees, which are bodies that you've created by resolution or other method. And your
Like the
environmental
personnel.
advisory council kind of falls into that as well. It's kind of a terminology
Which one?
buffer. The EAC,
But
that's a
that's
council.
Yeah, the council.
That's just terminology. That's not, it doesn't serve
It's
as,
just a standard name for it, but it's.
yeah.
So it could be C for committee or C for council?
Yeah.
I mean,
those-
yeah, it's
those-
technically it was created as council, so that's what it is, but it could be an environmental advisory committee. You could view it the same. So those are also all appointed members. So again, this body appoints those members to those boards, but they're created for specific purposes. And all of those bodies that I've referenced, other than the zoning hearing board, are just advisory bodies. So they provide recommendations to council, but council makes final decisions on everything. So like we have the EAC here tonight to report back, and like the planning commission provides you recommendations. The zoning hearing board has authority to take official action separate from borough council. That's why they have a separate attorney because of conflict of interest. So hopefully that-
Quasi-judicial body.
yeah, they're a quasi judicial body. So hopefully that makes sense. I think
EAC
terminology gets a little bit
The
confusing.
EC and the rec board are very similar. They're appointed by council and they just provide guidance and they tackle specific projects. The committees like the personnel committee are committees of council. They are made up of members of council.
I didn't even think about them.
Yeah.
At the.
They're like working committees.
Yeah, like you have the land use committee met
Yeah.
earlier, yeah, you have working committees of council.
And they can discuss items, but they can't pass legislation.
We always
It has
bring
to
it
come
back to
from
council to find out.
And those specifically all have less than a quorum of council.
Less than a quorum of council.
That way you're not
All of council
deliberating.
can attend.
Got it. Okay, because I've attended some of these meetings and I just was curious of why some are council, why some are commissions, some boards, some.
Yeah, the terminology gets a little bit confusing.
Yes.
And the
Yeah, there's a web.
I was gonna say, the lists are at the end of every packet. You've got the elected and appointed officials list,
Okay,
and then you've got the list of council committees.
okay.
So it's just there, so if, if there's confusion, they're there as well. for
Thank you, yeah.
clarification.
That's the question I had, because I was getting confused looking at items. The other thing, I have had several, resident concerns brought to my attention, just to, bring the council, up to date. One is, Locust Road. This, I understand through the chief, has been going on through 3 chiefs. And now it has come to my attention, with speeding and weight limits of vehicles. So I'm working with the chief to, address this with the resident. I think it's been addressed a long time ago, but now I'm new and he's coming to me. So I will readdress it, with the help of the chief. The other is more of a safety concern for residents and for a child. Deerfield, the resident concern is coming to me from the neighboring community of Fields of Nicholson. And asking for, stop signs or speed bumps or, some help in, addressing safety concerns for traffic through the neighborhoods that are now, adjacent. There's a child, in Deerfield who is autistic and not really able to follow signs and safety. And this resident has addressed concerns not only for the child, but also for unsuspecting drivers. So again, I'm working with the chief and hopefully we can get the HOAs involved, maybe but, to address some of these safety concerns for those neighborhoods with this child. And I think that, kind of delves into, what I think was brought up last month, perhaps, you know, some sort of system or protocol for, you know, I'm getting concerns, I'm getting emails, I'm getting texts, I'm getting stopped wherever I am. You know, but, you know, I'm finding out from the chief that, you know, this particular resident has been complaining about the same thing for a decade, you know, but I don't know who else is getting the same concern as a council person. They come to me as the mayor, but they might be going to you as a council person, they may be going to the chief, they may be going elsewhere. So I'm getting it thinking I'm the only one that knows of this, and I'm finding out that, well, other people are also addressing it, but I want a consistent process for addressing some of these issues. And I don't really know how to go about that. But if I'm responding to a resident and somebody, one of you is also responding to that resident, we may not know that each other are talking to the same person about the same problem and could perhaps be responding in different ways. So that's a concern I see, and looking for ways to address that so that we can be, you know, looking out for the community in a consistent manner. I'm looking
I
for
did
help
put
here.
that on Zach's list for when he returns.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, because I'm just, you know, I'm getting a lot more these days.
I'm sure it won't be the last time, whether it's, you know, you get emails or texts or any of us, and
Yeah.
we all need to be on the same
We,
page.
we get hit singularly,
Yes,
not as a group.
But-
Type in one email address and send the thing.
yeah, and then they say, well, if you don't, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he gets some, and it's like, well, if you don't respond appropriately, I'm going to the new mayor, you know. I'm going to mom, you know. I didn't like dad's answer, so I'm going to mom. Sorry. So if we can work something out, that would be helpful, I think, just to respond consistently to the residents. Sorry about that.
I'll have that. I'll have that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay.
No, I said, I'm just making a joke. I'll have that. I don't know who will have that.
Okay, that's for now.
Well, I can't follow that. I have a couple of things. First of all, I meant to ask Zach while he was still here. Do you know if we have a senior lunch in the works for this year, for this quarter?
He
Okay.
told me he's working on something like that
Okay,
recently, because someone wants to start like that, I guess.
we have one in the fall. I'll check back in a
I
second.
resemble that remark, so I'm on with that.
Oh, I also spoke to the resident earlier today, the one who was here at our last regular meeting to talk about cell phone. Lack of cell phone service in the fire, so I just reached out to him because I feel like. And this again, where the right hand might not know what the left hand is doing, but I feel like a lot of times when people come in for public comment like that, they say what they need to say, and then we kind of sit there and look at them, although you did respond, you did, but it feels like you can walk away feeling very unsatisfied, right? So I called him just to touch base and say, this is what's going on, a little bit more thorough of an answer. And he seemed perfectly happy with that, and did not say that he walked away unsatisfied with your answer, by the way, but I just wanted to touch base to make sure that we're communicating clearly to folks that their concerns, in some cases at least, are being addressed on a bigger scale.
That is a slippery slope during the meeting, during the 5-minute comment period.
Absolutely.
Because we've had people here, as you know, who are trying to grill you,
Right,
and you really don't want to respond.
You don't want to.
no, we don't want a question and answer session, right, for a lot of reasons, but I did want to make sure that he understood that that was something that is being addressed, and that's part of a larger process, and we're moving toward hopefully a resolution, so.
Which we met on earlier, so.
Yes, then I told him we were gonna be talking about that at our committee meeting tonight. So, I think that, oh, Andy, I had a question on your notice of violations list. I noticed there were 2 on there for Airbnbs. Is that something that, I haven't seen any other than those, but is that something that we need to address? I know this sort of comes up perennially, but and I know you feel very comfortable with our ordinance.
With the NFL draft,
The NFL draft.
Yeah,
or
Okay,
renting their house out for the weekend, making a whole lot of money.
are we allowing it?
how did you?
No.
We're not allowing it?
Yeah.
Usually when I have 15 minutes at the end of the day, I would just pull up the Airbnb site, punch in a couple of dates randomly and wait for the map to pop up with Franklin Park. Then 9 times out of 10, the advertisement in there will have a picture of the front of the house.
Yeah.
You got the street, it's just put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
It's really the only way to.
It's really like a big family get together though, and for my daughter's graduation, and it would have been so nice to have like an Airbnb in the neighborhood instead of putting them in hotel rooms. That my family could have all been in Airbnb.
Dinner zoning code.
Yeah, no.
You can't do.
Oh, you're all graduated.
Quality,
What?
quality, they have a swimming pool.
What's the, just, what is the Airbnb regulation, just so we're, everyone's.
Yeah, I'm curious what it is.
Yeah. It's a bed and breakfast. And usually where they're located, it's not permitted, or they're not living there, so for a bed and breakfast, you need a host, and the host must live in the house that they're, that's typically not.
When you're renting a room, would that be?
Well, if you're renting a room, then you're using it as a domicile, as a dwelling, so you're not transient, you're living there. So if it's transient, and you don't have a host there, then it's a hotel motel. So hotel motel is probably not in the right zoning district.
Do we have actual rental properties like apartments or
Anybody
townhomes?
can rent a house, yeah, there's a lot of people that own multiple houses and rent them out.
Right, but
And that's not a problem, but they're living there,
they're
they're
living there.
paying taxes here.
Establishing residency.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's fine, there's no, we permit that, there's no regulation on that.
Is there a minimal rental period for those, like, people rent for like? a
Well,
week?
no, but you know, if it looks like a duck, it looks like a duck, it smells like a duck, it's a duck, right? So, I mean, usually Airbnbs are used for a weekend or maybe a week. And if, like I said, if the homeowners, they're serving the breakfast, that's what they do, and they're being bed and breakfast, right?
If I rent out my basement, so.
You can do that. Well, if you're there, you get breakfast every month and you're in the right zoning district, you may have an argument. But I don't think you're in the right zoning, well, you are in the right zoning district, you're not one. So,
Yeah, I'm in R1.
yeah, so that would probably be a conditional use, and you would have to show your wares to us.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, we're pretty well covered, I've never had any trouble with that, getting rid of these things. It was just, you know,
People almost realize they shouldn't be doing it, they're trying to do it surreptitiously. Then you pop it up on the app, you're like, no, not at this.
Yeah, you see it pops up for 3 days, $1,700.
Yeah.
It's right around the NFL draft.
Yeah.
now, and, you know, when the owner's Satish Jindal, or I mean, we all know him, don't we?
Well, I will say,
I say more.
I have family in Kansas City, Missouri, and they're renting out their houses for the World Cup. And they're allowed, and they're making money.
They haven't took a putt yet.
I need Andy to check those.
Yeah, there's a lot of towns and cities that have cracked down on this don't allow it, so.
Interesting. I'm not renting my basement out.
As far as you know.
Is it for the golf?
A lot of people got cracked down for having people parked in their yards and that, we got some fan mail for that.
And you know, when you do that in the neighborhood, the neighbors know.
They're gonna find out right away.
The neighbors. I mean, at least. Maybe get some-
Hush money for Airbnb. Okay, that was my question, thank you.
Well, we had a productive land use meeting talking about cell tower zoning. And we started by looking at the cityscape borough-wide wireless communication master plan. We recognize that it was fairly supportive of the legislative reasons for allowing cell towers in Franklin Park Borough. We discussed the current code where the conditional use for tower-based wireless communications facilities outside of the public rights of way, which is what we're dealing with here, are covered by section 212-1905P. And currently in R1, R2, M2, and M3, those are conditional uses. But right now, they're not permitted in R3, R4, and M1. We talked about the necessity of providing there for conditional use in R3, R4, and M1. We are looking at the issue of private properties where the towers may be placed. The issue of potentially condemning property in order to place those towers if need be out of public necessity. We know that we have to deal with the emergency 911 coverage, which is bad in certain areas. And the health, safety, and welfare reasons set forth in the report that we received for cell towers is very strong for taking care of the problem we have right now, where we have a lack of 911 service and cell tower service. We also discussed non-tower communication facilities, and the fact that's really not an issue in our code. The discussion also covered bonding the cost of decommissioning towers that are no longer being used. That way, if a tower's been built and 3 or 4 years from now it's not being used because it's not needed, there's money in the bank to take it down and deconstruct it. We also talked about the possibility of cooperating with McCandless or Ross Township with their problems with cell tower coverage. We decided in the committee that we would suggest to council that among all of these issues that we would also have our solicitor take up a review of the ordinance for revisions that would be necessary. And to make certain that those revisions get done within conformity with the report, it was suggested that with council's permission, we would have LSSE do a revised zoning map and drop in the places where cell towers were recommended. Once LSSE does that zoning map, we could then go to the solicitor and have them review the ordinance to make certain that everything is acceptable as a use where it would need to be, because it may be that there are places where we don't need to revise the ordinance based on the size of the properties. So that's it.
So how many towers are you planning to propose this weekend?
Oh, no, there's no proposal right now. No, no, what we're doing is we're trying to fill in all the gaps that we have in the most efficient way possible. And in order to do that, we've got the report that we received, and we can have our engineer review the report and then give us the revised zoning map to show us where the potential is for these towns to be, and then we can figure out.
I failed to mention, about, I went to the North Hills COG meeting last week or 2 weeks ago. There was a lot of talk about salt, as you can imagine. There, I think 19 municipalities had declared emergencies. Because their salt was so low, and there was a lot of not confusion, but there was a lot of, I guess, confusion from it coming from the salt companies, because they were hearing from public works departments, managers, and other staff from municipalities who were, to put it not so politely, jumping out of line to contract with salt companies to get their salt ahead of their schedule through the COG. So the COG was really emphasizing, do not reach out to customer service on the salt, stay in the process through the COG, because that threw off everyone's salt deliveries, because it's just a big company and communication is going you know, how many different ways, so she really stressed, and she said that she had said that also in a meeting to borough managers or municipality managers and public works departments, so that they're staying in that process. And the other highlight of this, they're having a flagger training April 14th for public works department, so I don't know if that's something that we need to participate in, but that's available.
Gary usually sends his guys.
Yeah, we have no problem letting him take his entire staff if he needs to, for the training.
Those are kind of the highlights.
If we have excess salt, we assign our rates. Sounds like we have salt that's gonna be.
I thought we were ordering ahead of time.
Is that what our plans are?
I wouldn't call it excess, so.
It's not excess.
We had to meet a minimum, but we'll use it.
Okay.
We
So
did that
we're on
for
our
the
plans
van
for it.
Yeah, storm, and then, but we had a little bit extra, and they were using a sparingly, I think, too.
I have one other question.
Yeah.
If I may speak. Is there an official, relationship or connection with Franklin Park Borough and a group called the Friends of North Park?
No.
Okay, is anybody familiar with the Friends of North Park?
It's not like a Facebook.
Yeah, they're on Facebook all the time. Yeah.
Oh, I don't see them there. I just know somebody that's affiliated and they were asking me if Franklin Park was, you know, associated with that group to help with anything associated with the park.
Yeah, that, Letty had mentioned that, I guess, they had somebody from Friends of North Park at the AC meeting.
Yes,
And that would be appropriate, but North Park is not in Franklin.
it's not in Franklin Park, no, but apparently there's some people in Franklin Park that are friends.
We can still be friends.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they can.
Yeah, so, okay, but there's no official relationship.
They stretch all over the place, right?
I don't have anything, just real quick, Christian, the process thing you brought up. If there's something that happens in like Ward 1, I do usually CC Dr. Lee and Rohit and Zach, right? So, if it's something that's like Ward 2, I think has a copy of like Laura and staff room discussing or something.
Okay,
So that's always try to do that. It's relevant to like that person's moving.
thanks.
Okay, I don't have anything to report, but, and few of us were in ALON next week, so.
Mhm.
There's Laura, right? We'll report back. So something else, Phil, so it's in the session.
Oh, one thing.
Oh, yeah, but
So whatever this waste management container, something I heard about from my residents and a lot of people are receiving containers and.
They're breaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that's.
We have a, they had a backlog in getting parts. Dawn is taking 5 to 10 calls a day. from people. And she's explaining the same thing to everybody. Waste management is trying to catch up now. Those are waste management cards, so they have to fix them.
So they're gonna make the new container for everyone?
They,
or the wheel, whatever.
Or the wheel,
Yeah,
yeah,
or
they,
the,
they will come out and fix it and they, Donna works with every resident about to do that, so.
So they should reach out to us and
Reach- Reach out to waste management first, and if they don't get satisfaction, they can then call Donna and Donna will help them.
Okay.
But yeah, Donna's got a long list of people she's dealing with on a regular basis.
I wouldn't
Try
mind.
and get them.
She sent an email recently to Waste Management, letting them know that their customer service and they need to do a better job and not.
And Zach is
Lean
about
on us.
waste management, all right, and talk about that issue.
Okay.
Donna also reached out to HOAs because they were starting to lean on some of the residents for leaving their card out, but the way you get your card fixed is you have to leave
And
it
they tell
out.
you to leave it out.
Yes,
too.
but then the HOA would say, hey, you can't do that.
I had one crushed and they sat out for 2 weeks before they finally did something. And
They,
when I mean crushed, it was like run over by a truck or something. I just left it there.
they're explaining that they had a huge backlog on getting cards.
Yeah.
And that they're using new equipment, new trucks, the drivers are still trying to get used to operating. So they are damaging parts
Mhm.
as they learn.
Cause they go with that forklift, right? And
Yeah,
if they didn't operate it right, they drop it down and it crushes the thing.
Actually, the lady,
Yeah.
no, we will be accepting bids this year for a new contract kicking in next year. So not always a good thing, that won't be in this case.
No.
It'll be much more expensive with less service.
Yeah.
And my kids are so disappointed I did the way good guy today.
They can wait till neutral.
You guys, session?